And released it in time, but it's off the mark. A nice first quarter of play. We've seen plenty of offense so far. Bulls out front, leading by a point. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be back in just a moment. Neither team able to build much of a lead up to this point as we start the second quarter. And a moment now to look at the scoring approach in terms of where the points are coming from for the Bulls.
Guys, right from the start, it's been apparent they're determined to establish a presence in the paint.
Also, what passing we've seen from them here early. I mean, there could be a big number in the assist column if this keeps up.
So the Bulls 5 right now. Rose is the 1 with Butler is the 2. Noah is up there with Pau Gasol. And it's Mirotic in at the 3. Crawford, no luck. The Bulls leading by 3. Goes back up. Mirotic's shot is off.
That's terrific defense right there to prevent from converting in close.
But they get it back. Here's Rivers. Good on the three-point shot. Rivers has got himself on the board with 3 there.
I'm not sure that was the play they had set up, but it was too good a look to pass up.
Here's Gasol. That's in, and he found his range with that one. Now 1 for 2.
These defenders look overmatched right now, especially inside.
Well, they've given up 10 of the last 12 points from close range, so I'd have to agree with you, partner.
Crawford drives in, and Gasol sends it back. Throws it up high. Mirotic, the pass to Gasol. The feed to Butler. Almost, but it rolls out. The Clippers trail.
And Coach Doc Rivers wears multiple hats for this organization. Not only is he the head coach, but also in charge of all basketball operations, really the leader in a lot of ways for this team.
Mirotic with it, and Crawford picks him up defensively. And Mirotic kicks to Gasol. Outside Rose. To the middle. Crawford with the steal. And now here's Rivers, the fast break opportunity. Rose with some nice D. The Bulls have gone 50% from the floor in the second quarter, 3 of 6. Thinking about Doc Rivers being a leader, he was like that on the floor, Clark, as well. You know that. You went against him.
A leader and a winner, no doubt about it. And there have been a lot of coaches that came from his old Celtics team. And of all of them, perhaps the least surprising is Doc Rivers for the reasons we just mentioned. Leader and coach on the floor.
Stolen by Rivers. And Crawford with the basket on the assist by Rivers. Crawford's got the game tied up here for Los Angeles.
I tell you what, he has quite the act to follow, but Fred Hoiberg was a quick choice for the brass in Chicago. Signed that 5-year deal over the summer, was easily one of the most in-demand coaches available.
And the first time out of the game called for Chicago. Well, Greg, for Hoiberg, it's his first job as an NBA head coach. Now, we know he played. He's been a part of an NBA front office. Clark, he came from Iowa State, where he honed his coaching skills and was highly respected.
Yeah, very much respected, particularly as an offensive coach. And we know the Bulls are pretty solid defensively, and he'll be looking to ramp up that offensive approach for that team, and I think he will.
Catching up on the changes for the Clippers. Jordan, he's checked in for Aldridge. Griffin comes in for Pierce. And Bahamute's checked in for Green. And Paul's subbed in for Rivers. And Chicago shooting around 43% from the floor in the second quarter. Rose dishes to Noah. Rose passes to Noah. Takes it up with both hands and rips it down.
This has been a thriller. You cannot say enough about the way these two teams have competed.
All indications, Greg, are that this game is going down to the wire. I mean, I'd be surprised, actually shocked, if it ended any other way.
And guys, that's a big swing right there. I mean, taking the steal and then turning it into 2 easy points on the dunk.
No telling how important that sequence could turn out to be.
And guys, in a game this snug, moments like that are the ones we usually look back on at the end as a difference maker.
Yeah, good job to take it right at the deep.
Yeah, really left him no choice there, Greg. I mean, he had to foul and keep him from converting the easy bucket.
And injuries, once again, were a central theme of the Bulls' season last year. Losing Rose was one thing, but then having Jimmy Butler lose a lot of time put them in such a tough spot.
58 seconds left to play here in the second quarter. Rose goes in. The shot's good on the assist by Butler. And that's now 6 points for Derrick Rose. Paul kicks to Crawford. They get it again. Jordan. Foul call that time on the way up. That'll give him 2 chances at the free throw line here. It's his first trip to the line. Free throw good, Jordan. And for the Bulls and injuries, a lot of teams plan for these type of things. There's only so much Clark you can do to mitigate losing your starting backcourt.
But I tell you, great respect and admiration for the Bulls for how they fought through the difficulty. I mean, their front court did what they could. The injuries, once again, I thought turned the Bulls from championship contenders to just a playoff team.
Chicago calls timeout.
You know, obviously, there's some things out there he does not like and wants to talk it over.
Well, Greg, you've played and you envision yourself as a coach as well. So, sometimes you need to make some adjustments.
Brooks checked in for Chicago. Here is Brooks. 2 for 1 opportunity here if they want it.
And no doubt, Kevin, if I'm them, I go for it.
Cannot hit. The Clippers go the other way with it. And he lobs it up. And out of bounds as the Bulls gain possession.
That is just a careless turnover. You've got to be smarter in those exchanges.
3-second difference between shot clock and game clock. In the corner, Gibson with it. Back to Brooks. 6 on the shot clock. Chicago needs to get off a shot here. Here's Butler. And a big bounce off the rim, but it sinks right in. Butler's got 13.
And his presence as a scorer, it just has a calming effect for the rest of the team. He's a fallback option whenever they need one.
And so it's a close game as we wrap up the first half of basketball. Bulls lead.
Attention, Staples.
Here we go now, the start of the third quarter, welcoming you back in a closely contested first half so far. We are seeing a tremendous game from Jimmy Butler.
And the thing I noticed most in that first half was his offense. He was not wasteful with his opportunities and also did a great job of converting with the chances he had.
I agree with you, Greg. Judicious shot selection. All of his looks were good looks.
The third quarter now beginning. Both sides looking to pull away in the last half of the game. We are seeing a tremendous game from Jimmy Butler.
I know we've said this many times before, but what a great first half. Just an offensive juggernaut.
And, in the end, I wouldn't be surprised if we're talking about what a great second half he had, guys. I mean, he can usually keep it going for all 4 quarters.
All fueled up and ready to go. Let's reset the lineups courtesy of Gatorade for the second half of basketball. And the Clippers, looking at who they've got, Chris Paul and J.J. Redick are the guards. Inside, it's Griffin and Jordan, and it's Mbah-a-Moute in the small forward. And he sinks the second.
And guys, the Clippers last year, they were okay against the Eastern Conference, but not spectacular. You would have thought that with how well they were overall, they would have just really feasted on the East.
As you said with the Clippers, Greg, they did decently against the Eastern Conference. But of the Western playoff teams, Clark, they had the second worst record against the Eastern Conference.
And, you know, things like that matter, Kevin. I mean, they struggled against Eastern Conference playoff teams, went only 6-10 against those teams last year.
Neither side has relented a bit in this back-and-forth affair.
Well, 8 lead changes, Kevin, so far as the teams are battling it out here in the third.
And you can sense the energy in the building already as this game is starting to build towards having a terrific finish.
So the whistle blows on the shot and 2 free throws for the contact right there. Bulls made the postseason for the 10th time in their last 11 seasons. Last year, they have become a fixture, Greg, in the playoffs in the East.
And how about last season, Kevin, had that interdivision matchup in their first round against the up-and-coming Bucks. Some hiccups for them in that series, but they were able to prevail.
Incredible timing on the alley-oop.
He absolutely hammered it down.
And guys, mark that play right there because that could be the one that leads to a surge to break this thing wide open.
The kick out to Rose. Gibson dishes to Gasol. A second chance effort. It's hauled in by DeAndre Jordan.
Boy, in that playoff series against the Bucks, the Bulls looked like they were primed for an upset as they started slowly. Eventually pulled it together and came in as the underdogs against the Cavs.
Here's Butler. And he was fouled on the way up. 2 free throws now for him. It's on Mbah-a-Moute.
And the Cavs knocked out the Bulls in 6 games. Bulls went up 2-1 in the series, but didn't have an answer for LeBron. Strong effort from the Bulls, though, but they just couldn't match the firepower of the Cavs.
For a franchise that had so much success under his tenure, there was sure a lot of friction with Tom Thibodeau, and the Bulls front office surprised a lot of people, I know, including yourself.
Yeah, you know, it's not something that you see often, a winning coach at odds with his GM and president. With how often their differences came up, though, you knew something was afoot.
And the Clippers miss again.
They really depend on him to convert those chances. A lot of times, even with solid D draped on him, they expect him to make it.
And the foul called on Blake Griffin.
And the next one puts him in the bonus.
Yep, they'll be trying to draw that next foul quickly so they can start getting those easy chances at the stripe.
Chicago calls timeout.
And with Thibs, he did end up getting fired from the Bulls this past season. Some saw it coming, but still, I think surprising given the level of success he had. His imprint is all over this Bulls team and the way they approach the game.
And when you look at how Thibs got fired, I mean, there are a lot of reasons why a coach can be let go. I mean, he didn't have any performance issues, but apparently clashed in some form or fashion with the front office. Sometimes that's all it takes to be asked to go somewhere else.
A platoon swap here for the Clippers. Doug McDermott, he's checked in for Chicago. Not quite 2.5 minutes played here in the second half.
They're going to have to play really smart on defense now and defend without fouling because they're over the limit.
The Bulls have scored 6 points from their 8 attempts at the line so far. You know, you work hard all season, Greg, to try and get into the playoffs, then get a favorable first-round matchup. How about the Clippers last year? Followed those steps. They're rewarded with the first-round matchup against the defending champions of the league, the San Antonio Spurs.
And not only were the Spurs the defending champions, but they came in playing terrific basketball down the stretch, which is kind of what they are noted for. And the Clippers, though, did well, even though that was the case.
Down to 5 on the shot clock. And it's Butler missing.
Just tentative in the paint, lacking a little bit of confidence, allowed the defender to recover and contest that shot.
The offensive rebound. Aldridge kicks to Crawford. for the lead. And he gets it to go. Crawford's got 9.